Okay, here we have the Avios Zazzy. I'm going to open up the box, tear it apart, see if it's any good. Okay, with the box open, this is quite possibly one of the best packed foamies I think I've bought. I mean, it is all well and truly put in there, no bother at all. So we'll start pulling the wrapping out. If we notice anything, we'll start the camera again. Okay, so when you finally get out of your box, these are the parts you're presented with. So obviously we've got the fuselage with the canopy. All the linkages are already pretty much in place. We've got the wing root there with the wing plugs. We've got a little blanking plate that will glue onto the undercarriage later. We've got the cowling, which we're going to take off in a second, have a look at the motor. Obviously horizontal stab, tailplane, call it what you will. Small bag of accessories, a supposedly carbon fibre propeller, undercart, wing tube, fin and rudder, and the wings. Absolutely no damage to any items so far, and I've got to say the finish is actually really good. It really is. I don't know how well, I'm filming this on the GoPro, I don't know how well this gets picked up on the GoPro, but it really is very good. For a foamy, of course. It's certainly better quality so far than other things that I've seen. Just note there's a small mark in that tailplane just there. I don't know if you can see that on the camera. But, I think we'll forgive them that. A couple of small bubbles in the stickers. I suppose the closer you look and the harder you look, you start to see a few little things. Mostly moulding marks. It looks like these are mostly stickers, these decals. They're certainly stickers, they're not painted. Fuselage looks to be painted, that's a sticker. That again looks to be a sticker. So it looks like the white and the red are paint, and then the rest of it is stickers, like that black stripe is sticker, and it's a sticker all the way down to the end of the gold. So that whole unit there is a sticker, and you can see just there perhaps the I mean, I probably couldn't put them on as good as that, to be honest, but you do notice a couple of little bits like that. And that's a sticker, obviously a sticker. So there's actually not much paint to have to come off. Take a look at the wings. Okay, obviously the white's the base. Okay, yeah, so this is, again, this is a sticker from the trailing edge here all the way across, and then another Zazzy sticker on top. Underneath, the sticker ends on the leading edge, and those are stickers there. So yeah, no paint to come off. Excellent, good. Right, I'm going to take the cowl off, see what the motor's like, and yeah, take a good look at that. Okay, got the cowl off. We are talking 2 small self-tapping screws. Be careful of the stickers. These stickers here are all the way across. You do need to just cut those with a knife before you can remove it. Nice hard mounting point for the cowl there. And again, the quality here is really quite good. You can obviously tell that the cowl was in place for painting. Looking at the motor, we've got metal motor mount onto a nylon plastic bulkhead. There's ventilation holes, and the motor appears to be it's an Aerostar 2820 900 kV. Nice big bolt on the front, probably I would guess a 5mm shaft, and that's obviously an adapter. I know there's a few people that have said that the prop may be a bit too far away from the cow. We'll look at that a bit later once we build it. Having a look inside, a bit difficult, the lighting here is not particularly great. So there's good things and there's bad things. Good things, XT60 connector, although I think at this size I would prefer an XT90. We've got really quite a useful battery strap that was obviously put in just before paint. There's a bit of red paint on it. Nicely rubberized mount for the battery. That's all good, don't mind that. Even taking the time to tie wrap the leads together for us, and they've even labelled them up. If I notice any problems with this labelling, I'll let you know. We've got rudder, elevator, another rudder, and an aileron channel. So that's interesting. Why do we have? Let's just see if we can. So they've got a rudder channel there, then an elevator, and then we have another rudder channel. So, and we have one aileron channel. So I'm expecting that they've got the ailerons and rudders mixed up, and that's a shame, because if you weren't overly experienced in building this, that's going to be a stumbling block. It's going to set you back. But what we'll do is, as I say, I'm looking at this. There's a Y lead here. That's clearly going to the actual adapters. Servos themselves, I'm not going to move them around because that damages them. So if you see anyone doing that, well done, they're damaging it. One thing I'm noticing, nice Z bends, nothing complicated here, but they are right on the edge of the servo, and that's not ideal. You're not going to get your maximum torque here. I'll probably end up moving this in. I would probably go 3 holes in to a sort of more middle position, and that gives your servo the chance to actually physically work without actually overstraining it and causing current drain. And if you're a Spectrum user, current drain, if you're not using a switchable BEC or a separate power supply for your receiver, that can be bad. I'm sure plenty of people, especially in the States, will agree with that. I'm not seeing the ESC. Where is it? It's hiding right down there. Okay, so I've pulled the motor out. Aerostar 50 amp brushless ESC. We've got a 5 amp S-spec, and it's for 2 to 6S lipos. So that should be more than up to the job. However, what we're talking about with the wiring, it's apparently a rudder channel. Right, let's hope everyone can see that. Bad Hobbyking, bad rudder channel for throttle. Imagine the implications. I've used these controllers before. They can be a little bit moody. I might take a chance on this one on the basis of the review, or I may very well just fit a sort of standalone UBEC to power my receiver. I do use Spectrum, so I'm always a little bit cautious with it. To be fair though, I think the plane will probably take a separate receiver battery anyway. But I'm going to get this put back together and we'll start the build. Right, another thing to look at is the wings. We've got a single screw nylon fixing for the horn. Again, the servo's right on the outer lip here, on the outer hole of the horn, as well as on the outer horn on the servo. It's not ideal, that. I'd prefer to see that Z bend on the inside a little bit, but it's not hopefully that highly stressed, so hopefully it'll be okay. Now what they've got here is a plastic root to the wing, so this is solid, so that allows you to screw into it here and here, as well as giving you a nice good flat surface to butt up against the also plastic bearing on the actual wing itself. All these are solid plastic, they're not foam locators like you'd see on a normal sort of foamy. Take a look down the wing, hopefully we can get some light. It's not ideal, but essentially it's a hollow wing, and we can see that by putting this up to the light, and yes, there's a hollow wing. Now I'm sure Hobbyking or anyone else that's doing this will tell you that this is a new super duper way of building foamies. It's not by a long shot. I remember models from Kyosho, and there were some small warbirds way back in the late 90s that were also foamy and painted, and they were all hollow moulded foam, albeit polystyrene rather than this is like an EPP. Yeah, it's not a new technology, but it is quite a good technology unless you smash it up. If you smash it up, you're in trouble, because what will happen is this will tend to tear. Polystyrene will break. This will actually tear if you smash it off. So chances are, if you do rip a wing off, you're going to need to actually replace the wing rather than being able to actually repair it. And for the price point of this model, I mean, it's 150 quid, including all your radio gear. So spare parts are, pretty cheap. One small, I'm always going to point out damage if I find it, and we've got a imprint just here on the leading edge of the wing. I don't know whether that's a thumbprint or just a bit of klutziness. I certainly haven't done it. Another one, just a small imprint on the aileron. So I mean, this definitely, this could be a top-notch foamy, and it's just let down ever so slightly by what looks to be mishandling. I wouldn't say it was the packaging, because the packaging looked really good. This wing, so it's just that one wing. Be interesting to know if anyone else has had any. There's a small mark there, but it's not an actual mark. It's not a dent. It's like a sort of mark in the foam. But it'd be interesting to know if anyone else has purchased this, whether they've had any issues. Getting that hollow moulded wing. And just another little issue, that sticker is just on the edge, so we'll trim that down with a sharp blade, just take the edge off it, stop it from lifting. Good thing, of course, is I would normally, I probably still will, I normally put a strip of clear tape along the leading edge, because where I fly there's a lot of heather and muck and things that can knock it, and a strip of sort of strong, reasonably stretchy repair tape along that leading edge. Not only does it hold your stickers down, but it protects the leading edge against dings from just transportation or landing in heather and things like that. You'd be surprised how much damage a strong stalk of grass can do at sort of 40 mile an hour if you're landing at that speed. So I'm going to carry on with this, and yeah, back in a sec. Okay, before I was really interrupted by the GoPro going flat, we've got the tail wheel mechanism here. Managed to fully seat it. It's all tightened, but the hole for securing the rudder to the actual tail wheel that's then secured to the body doesn't actually line up. even with a judicious amount of sort of squishing and moving, it's not going to bring that any closer. So I mean, probably a needle file or something, or maybe even some bending of this bracket to try and bring it further. I don't know how that's happened really, to be honest. There's no way of making it get any closer really, but we'll have a go and see what happens. Right, we've tightened it up. Look at the camera right there. You should be able to see that that screw is definitely not completely flat. The rudder itself is as hard up as it's going to get. But also what I've noticed is I don't think that tail wheel is completely square. I think it's got a little bit of what I would say is right trim, and there's no way of adjusting this. It's locked solid on the rudder. The only thing I can possibly do is remake these Z bends, or maybe put a little twist in this one. You shouldn't have to do this. This is details. This is where your multiplexes, you know, you warrant the extra sort of £100 on the kit. I don't think it's going to affect it too much, but other than that, it's a reasonably strong tail wheel. I've got the wheels on. I'm probably going to remove these spats. They're not really suitable for where I fly, but we'll keep them on there for now. I'm going to carry on and see where the rest of it takes me. Okay, we've finished assembly. So, not too many problems, nothing that can't get around. Some irritations more than anything else. The gap between the rudder and the main body, there's probably about a mil gap there. It's not brilliant, but it's not too bad either. The tail is all screwed on. One bolt from the top through the tailplane to secure it to the fuselage, 2 bolts from underneath into the fin structure. You do have to nip them up quite tight to stop the tailplane from physically moving ever so slightly, but generally not too bad. Looking at slot in the elevator, there really isn't any. That's pretty solid, nice. Same for the rudder. Literally no slop at all. Fantastic, excellent, that's exactly what I want. Ailerons, however, slightly different matter. We have got a little bit of slop. Let's see if we can see where that is. Okay, it's all in that Z bend there. Okay, so that horn's been ever so slightly drilled out too much. So what I'm going to do, I think, is we will move this inner horn if at all possible, and try and get rid of some of that slop. It's just been over drilled. Probably the same the other side. Exactly the same the other side. Just been over drilled. Probably won't make that much difference, but for me, I don't particularly want my ailerons fluttering. Undercarriage, solid, really solid. I'm probably not going to keep these spats on. I think I've already said that once before. You'll notice I've not put the screws in the wing yet, and that's because it's going to be put against the wall until I've got the receiver sorted out. Spectrum receiver I'm going to be putting in this. Probably going to, like I say, put a separate U-back in there as well. So I've got a little bit of work left to do before we're close to flying. Turning them all around, and again, this is quite a unit, but she is an attractive beast. I'm actually quite looking forward. I mean, I've flown a lot of, you know, fairly top end kit. I've flown Sebart, you know, you name it, I've pretty much flown it. But yeah, this is a very attractive model airplane, and I am looking forward to having a fly. That was the other niggle, the tail wheel. You can see that the rudder is pretty much straight, but the tail wheel is not. But hey ho, we'll see how that affects it. I'm probably going to be flying this from grass stroke dirt, so it's probably not going to make too much difference by the time the tail's in the air after just a second or so. And I have seen a couple of comments on the forums about the gap between the spinner and the cowling. Yeah, alright, yeah, there's a gap there, but it's not an awful fit. They've actually taken up all the side thrust. I don't know if you can see that, but all the side thrust is taken up by the moulding of the cowl. So it's not like this is wonky or horrific. For my taste, I prefer the APC E style propellers, and I'm also on 4S. I'm not entirely sure this is going to go as fast as I like it to go for a sport aerobat. So I'll be trying some different props. I do have I think this is an 11.6. I do have an 11.6 APC prop, so it'd be interesting to compare the current draw. This is quite a stiff prop, but the balancing is not particularly brilliant on it, I've got to say. One blade is considerably heavier, and being a carbon prop, it's dark outside, I'm not about to start tearing into that at the moment, but we'll get that balanced. The spinner, alright, yeah, it's not ideal. I think we'll fly it first, but I think I might treat it to a nice aluminium spinner. That puts a little bit more weight up the front, but I suspect this is going to need it. What I really like is the hatch for the battery. Lots of foamies, the Acro Watt, yeah, a lot of the Chris Foss stuff, a lot of the sort of Ripmax stuff, you'll find a little plastic tray under the nose, and you have to have a battery that's just really tightly fitted into that one particular plastic tray, and inevitably the first sort of nose overland in that plastic tray starts to break up, and it's a faff. It's horrible, don't like it. This has got what I would say is a battery hatch that's, yeah, a bit more it's upper level. You know, this is the sort of thing you see on multiplex. You know, you see this on a lot more sort of more expensive model aircraft, and it's a really good idea. And it's basically a hatch that's got a spring catch here. You open the spring catch and the canopy comes off, he says. Why aren't we working? Oh dear. Oh no. Oh, there we go. Right, okay. So you do have to hold it back and then lift the canopy. That's how good it is. It's not going to fall off in flight if I can't undo it, yeah, on the ground. Nicely done. I like that. It's fantastic. Really good access to all the electronics. Shame they weren't wired up right. A nice cheap Turner G4, 1000 milliamp, 3040C discharge. For those that don't know anything about batteries, Hobbyking suggests a 60C pack. Well, it's only a 50 amp controller, chaps, so it shouldn't be drawing any more than 50 amps. And a 4000 milliamp pack at even 20C should be capable of 80 amp draw. So at 30C this should be capable of over 100 amp draw. I'm not saying it is, but I think a 30 to 40C pack is more than ample for a model of this sort of caliber. It's not a top end model, it's a sport aerobat. It's going to be, you know, loops, rolls, some inverted circuits, fun stuff. It's not a serious F3A model. It is literally just a sports model. Bit of gentle poodling around. I reckon a 1000 milliamp pack is probably good for at least 6-7 minutes, you know, of mixed throttle flying. Looking at the battery inside here, I mean, this is a 4000. It's practically lost. You know, those out there that want to make models ridiculously quick and things like that, easily enough scope to get a 6S pack of the same size in there, no problem at all. It'll take it. Whether the actual aircraft, the airframe will take it, that's for you guys to find out, not me. I'm going to stick on the 4S. I might go to 5S. I don't think the motor's going to be up to that much, to be honest. It's a fairly cheap motor, but maybe stick a Hacker B50L in it or something like that, and that'll improve it. Now, ground clearance on this prop, it's not great. I mean, I know I've got this on the bed, but that is going to be quite close to the ground. I fly grass, and that is possibly a concern. So I may very well end up doing basically what Stuart on Hobbyking said, spin the undercarriage around, gain a bit of height on the prop. Other things to do, it's currently at 11.6. I might go 10.7 on it. That improves the speed, brings down the pitch to bring the amp draw back down. But we'll do a watt test as well. But other than that, for now, if I've got any comments really that are negative, I would say just basically the details. It's not build quality as such, it's just details. The tail wheel was a slight issue. Some of the stickers aren't particularly sort of well applied. There's a couple of knocks on the foam, but you know, you pays your money. Stuff that's good, I mean, it knocks together quite nicely. It's super simple. I don't think I even looked at the manual, to be honest. Having a look at the manual, it's fairly comprehensive. They actually suggest a Turnigy 3000 milliamp pack or the 4000 pack. It's okay. They have labelled the packs, but I did find a couple of packs without labels on it, which is fairly typical. But having quickly glanced at it, I mean, they go into details like putting the wheels into the spats, things like that. It's done for you. You know, they also go into putting on the prop and things like that. It's all fairly straightforward. They even give you control throws. Is there a COG? Yeah, the COG is marked on there at 95 to 100 mil from the leading edge. Doesn't say whether that's from the root or from the tip. So we'll assume it's from the root. The root of the wing, for those that don't know, is right next to the fuzz. Tip of the wing, obviously, right back here. If you get it wrong, tip of the wing's further back than the root of the wing. So if I was to go back, you know, 40 odd mil here, it's going to be nearly 50% of the actual wing chord. So we'll go from the root, and that, I'll imagine that's probably correct, and we'll adjust it from there if required. Other than that, it builds into a really nice looking sports model, and all we've got to do is wait and see how this thing flies. I'll be putting another video up where we will do all the radio install, show you if I come across any issues there, faulty servos or anything like that, and then hopefully sometime in the weekend, it's Thursday today, hopefully we'll get this up in the air and have a fly. Thanks for watching. Cheers.